Hello and good afternoon today. It's so beautiful today. It's starting to warm down. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's really nice today. You can probably hear the birds out there, and of course my finches and stuff like that. Anyway, I got notes here because I got a lot. I had this epiphany, and I've had it before, and I have only spoke to my son about it. I love you, baby. Anyway, and it was like 3 years ago, and it's so extremely helpful. If your parents are still alive, take this time to maybe talk to them, maybe actually really, listen to them. I know that maybe that might be a little bit hard because the soul wants to be itself. Maybe, you maybe got helicopter parents that like to, demand and tell you what to do, and, that are pretty rough, and what might seem a little misunderstanding. Um, that they might not be as misunderstanding as you really think. Um, anyway, the time is coming near. Got a message about that too. He just spoke to me about it. But anyway, I'll put the video at the end here. And now, if you're here, please stick with me, because I'm telling you, if you're here and you just read, whatever I text on this video, then I guarantee you by the time of the end of this video, it will be transforming for you. It'll be super, super exciting. You begin to put things into perspective, and know that you can actually have your own choice. And this is our chance, But anyway, this topic is about our emotions even affecting us now from the way past. I mean, even before we were even born. It's kind of like pretty cool. Anyway, like I said, I had this epiphany once before with my son. Like I said, I study biology and everything. I'm so sorry. I hope that my words are coming out well. It seems like I got like some upper respiratory going on a little bit. It's like I'm clogged, but I've also quit smoking. So it's like, I did get a bit of that out last night anyway, so it's pretty nice. It's like, cool, I got a video about that too. And but anyway, I shared with my son, out of all my children, out of all four of them that I had 3 girls and a boy. My son is, he does have anger issues. Don't get me wrong, he really does. He has a lot of anger issues. But out of all of them, he seems to be the more in control, and the more he can be happier in a sense, and maybe this might not be true for somebody else or something like that, but that's what I seen. And he's actually very easy to like communicate to once you get him in a certain, I mean, he will admit his wrongs and his mistakes, and sometimes he's a little hard on himself about that. I noticed around the time that I mentioned it to him, and I was just really happy. I was just so happy in that pregnancy. It was my 4th one, and I was really looking forward to it because I wanted this one to be perfect. I'd already gone through 3 of them, I kind of wanted this one to be perfect, and I thought even, giving birth to him would be a whole lot easier, too. And I was really happy, but I was angry too. So, even though I was angry, I didn't have very good, I mean, I did have, it was just bad. I had a bad relationship with his father, and when he found out he was a boy, it made me even more angry, because it was like, what he was giving me at that pregnancy, he didn't quite give me and the others. And that just kind of like flamed my anger. And I don't remember that, if, a lot of our fights might have been about that. But, and I was very loud. I was, and that's what this talk is about, is when you see your children doing what you used to do, it's reflecting on your own sins when you were at that age or at that time. And it's, it's not about the details, it's about the emotions. I can't stress that enough. I keep saying that. But, it is about our emotions. So, with that being said, um, you can help your children when you start to see them having these problems and these emotions that because if you're truthful with yourself, that you've had them emotions control your life, and you look back on the time, and I know I did. I tore myself apart. I said, "Gosh, what a fool I looked like," things I said, and it just wasn't. I remember the first time I talked about, just wanting to end my life or whatever in front of my kids. And that was enough to, for me to not do that again, just to see their faces when I was saying it. It woke me up. And, they bursted out crying, all of them all at one time. And we held each other and prayed, of course, at that time. And I didn't pray hardly at all. It just seemed like I prayed more when things weren't going my way, or I was, destroying my own thoughts, using my own thoughts and creating more problems. I mean, I didn't know it then, but I know it now. So I get so super excited. I'd like to talk about this stuff because I want everyone, and I pray all the time that everyone wakes up really quick. It's not what happens to us or what we're doing. It's really how long we have to be stuck in that rut to learn that lesson. And we will learn it over and over again. And if we didn't learn it, then the other generation, your children, are going to have to learn it pretty much the same way, minus the details. But you start to see it, and you want them, you pray and you want them to be quick at realizing what they're doing, because sometimes we don't even know what's going on around us. We're so caught up in an emotion, something that may have happened a couple of weeks ago or just a couple of days ago, or maybe, most of the time it is, something that's done past and gone, and, we're having problems letting it go. And that's a really good thing, is to let things go. And my son, seeing how I was so happy, it was so much more joy than I was with my girls. And I say my oldest one, that was a really big emotional time for me. And I see so much of her, and I remember talking to my mother about this, and she was like, I said she got a triple whammy stick on a lot of things, and sometimes we beat ourselves up, and we just want to waddle there and listen to these songs for days and days that bring out the tears and the crying and the sorrow and and then let's start thinking about what could happen and all that. We're so focused on what could happen and the destruction and oh my God, I can't live without them, or oh my God, my life will never, my life can't exist any way than it already, the way that we're trying to mold it, we just can't let go of that control. And the thing is that when we get there, it is a really lonely, dark place, and we've all been there. And I remember it being so painful. And but once we find awareness that we have to keep going through this stuff until we learn the lesson that he wants us to learn. And like I said, we are sometimes our own enemy. Oh my God, we can be so cruel to ourselves, and we have to remember to also give back. And I know I'm running off course to the topic just a little bit. But anyway, it doesn't look like I'm going to end up making it. I really wanted to make it like a 15-minute video. But please, if you're still with me, then I know you got to know that your soul must feel something with this, and please, it's going to resonate, and it's just truly amazing. The rebirth that it's going to end up taking you. And once you realize that, you have to learn this lesson, and it really is, you'll get to that point where you'll see love even in the darkest places. And our pain, our pains are the more pain we go through, I mean, think of Jesus. You know, the more pain we go through, the more wisdom we get out of it. And, you know, who are we to say that you know, really we're not deserving of a little bit of that pain to teach us something? You know, we're never gonna have to, you know, bear. I mean, some people out there are, but we're not, you know, and that gives you gratitude right there. But our pains are, who are we to say that we're not deserving of some of them? You know, I mean, look at the pain that, and the love, you know, the more we love, the more pain we're going to have. And we have to love ourselves. You know, it's got to get eventually to that part where it's just like we're just torturing ourselves and we're just running the same program over and over and over again, and you're getting nowhere, you know, because you know deep down inside what you need to do, and you need to just get out of your way. Get out of your own way, let go, literally let the higher spirit let you go. You know, let him do the work, and you will be truly amazed. You'll be so grateful about this. But I really hate trying to rush into the you know, some of my talks with you, because it truly, it's like at the end, it's like there it is. It's like bam, there it is. And I would like to make it like 15. I'm gonna have to pause this. I know you gotta hear that, and it just drives me nuts. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, I want to start with just a little taste of my experience, and it'll see how my experience in that lifetime affected my child, you know, and what she may have seen. You know, my oldest, she like I said, she was my first, and she was the oldest, and I would say something, you know, without thinking that she was there. So anyway, I remember the pain, I mean, the agony of the thought that, you know, I needed to, you know, have my firstborn. And we thought about, there was no way I was doing abortion. I couldn't even think about that. I mean, there's just no way. You know, I did think about, we discussed about maybe giving her to somebody, but I couldn't do that either. And I couldn't even let my mother, I mean, even my mom, you know, she was just like, you know, I was just like, no, you know, it really got to the point where it was, you know, something, it was my bed, it was my baby, you know, and I was going to have her, and that was that. And regardless, either way, mom would be there, you know, so, but, you know, that was just a decision that I made for myself. But when I met my baby's father, when I met them, you know, and my other two granddaughters and all that, but anyway, I was mean. I remember my mom telling me one time if I kept my attitude up, you know, I would lose him. But then at the same time, I felt like I had to bow down to him for my daughter's sake. You know, it was freaking me out. I really wanted to give my daughter the best, you know, thing. And I did. I remember yelling and screaming at him, how could you? How could you? And I play his guilt and stuff like that, and I didn't want him to just stay with me just because of, you know, out of guilt, and you know, and really that's what it really was about, you know. I know he loved me, but anyway, that was the worst pain, especially to have to try to stay in that. And at the time I felt, you know, my sacrifice, my emotions, so what? I really didn't care about myself, really, to tell you the truth. And I figured sacrificing for my children was the best, and that was that, you know. And in all reality, really, it isn't, because then they end up being around it, and then you see, and that's the thing that you're looking for. Write this down. That's the thing you're looking for. You're looking for patterns that repeat, and you got to change your words too. You can't just be going up to your adult children saying, you better do this, or you better do that, or, you just can't do that. Everybody has their opinions. Everybody looks at things differently. And once you start seeing that, then you can start putting the opinions and the things together, and that is what makes us strong. And like I said, if you're still here, then I'm telling you, please, comment below. I love engaging. I got my little notification on there, so I could be, right there while you're watching it, and answering your questions and stuff like that. And if not, I always get to you. I don't let anybody be ignored. I have problems, let me let you know, with my internet. So if you don't see me after a while, then you know something's happened, and I got to get up and running again. A lot of the virus people and all that other stuff out there want my money, and right now I got a nonprofit organization that's fixing to come up, but I seek this information because I'm rehabilitating myself too, trying to get my muscles built back up, but my body's not taken to that very well. But anyway, but what I want you to realize is that, when you were even in the womb, or when you were raised, you got to see these patterns, like maybe yelling, screaming, even maybe some violence, because you're freaking out, that things aren't going your way, and you want them to be your way, and that's just, you've got to let that go. The more you think, or the more that you think you're in control, the more, you're going to get a check really quick, and just how much control you think, and when we forget to praise the Lord for the things that we have, and then the things that we do, even the things that we don't have, that we know that are coming, just because they're not coming on your own time, or in that gift wrapped it, the way you see it, doesn't mean that it's not coming. The thing is that these things are coming to us, and it may not look and appear the way that we're trying to mold them. We really truly have to let go of it. And but like I said, pay attention to the emotions and the effects that even it may have on you, and realize what kind of program you might be running off of. And you might be running off that program from even 2 generations ago, like the smoking. Mine is the smoking cigarettes. I mean, it's just, it goes back and back and back, and it really is a tough thing to break a curse. A true generational curse is really hard to break. So, it could be any kind of addiction whatsoever, like drinking or whatever. I think about my grandparents, and even like the neural diversion. We're a family of we are slightly neural diversion here, and I see where I do my biology studies, where I seen it in my grandparents, I seen it in my uncles, I see it. The past, our history will tell us a lot of who we are. It's and once you find that out, the thing is the generation above is praying for you. They're warriors too. Through us, they get a second chance to make, do things right. So that that divine up there is there cheering us up and getting us going to make the right out of the out of the pain. So be confident that each generation gets stronger. I don't care who you are. So all this weak kind of stuff, I so try not to touch my face. That especially if you're around a bunch of people, you shouldn't be touching your face. That's what spreads the corona or whatever, or any flu or anything like that. Wash your hands. Make a thing out of it. Make some kind of game out of it for the kids. They got to wash their hands. It's essential, especially before they. Here I go, getting off off the grid a little bit. But anyway, I'm gonna be right back with you. Make sure I got all the topics, and if you're still with me right now, I love you much. Please comment below. And I got one last thing. Okay, yeah. When we do this and we go back into history, we can see and break habits that don't suit us well. And, it's like, if we've done it before, even if, it's like a curse, if our anger and stuff like that, if it's a curse and everything, then you can start doing something about it. And then once you see yourself, you can, and the earlier the better, parents. I mean, we got to cheer. We don't not raise our children, even though we run around saying we raise our children, we raise our children, we raise our children, we raise our children. And my oldest, she says that she's really glad because that makes her strong. Well, she's missing. But anyway, the thing is that we are there. We are there to, when we see our young children, our teenagers kind of like doing some of the stuff that we remember doing, or maybe we still do. Maybe, even if we see them saying something or acting in a certain way, pay attention, a lot of that, it did come from us. And then we sit there and we yell at them for doing the same thing that we've done. And that kind of gets us into check too, so you be grateful for each other, and then it makes you get closer too, especially if you can take something that you've gone through. You don't even have to say it to you, you can just tell it in a bedtime story or whatever. Or, the kids do like seeing, or hearing you share your emotion or they really do, you just simply say, I'm just so aggravated at work today. How is everybody else feeling? Because most of the time, if you feeling aggravated and things aren't working out for you either, and you pretty much know what it is. If it's it's just something that keeps repeating. It's just like taunting you, and really distracting you. Like 10 times out of 10. The other people around you too are going through or have gone through the same thing, no matter where they've been, whether they be at work or be at school or be wherever. They could be miles and miles away, and they've gone through pretty much the same doggone emotions and trouble that you went through that day. I mean, you could be in different states. I'm telling you. And I know that a lot of you out there can relate, especially, and stay in touch. If they're out of state, stay in touch with them, they're gonna, it's a wonderful thing to, I'm gonna have to pause this for a moment. And we're back. All right, but anyway, when you stop and share a little emotion and trouble you're going through, give it time, especially if you're not used to doing that. They might kind of don't give up just because they haven't opened up to you just already. If you keep doing that, they will. And then you can, I got this one video about taking some of these movies and seeing how these movies can reflect their lives and help them make good choices. So the younger, the better, and you start seeing that they're kind of copying one another, or they're, our children are our children. They're not our legacy. We give them the tools. We should not be telling them what to do, to an extent, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, just follow me, you literals out there. Just don't be being like that. But anyway, you can let them know, hey, look, that's not you. That's, I used to always think it was pretty cool because all the grandkids would start putting their hands on their hips. That's harmless. Those things are, it's just in the blood. They're your children. That's going to happen. But you know, if you blow up or something like that, and then you see your children blowing up, and you're like, you know, yeah, you're taking that back, you know, maybe have a discussion about that, you know, but you know, you blew up, broke a dish or whatever, whatever the case might be, you threw something, doesn't matter. I surely hope that no parents are throwing any dangerous things at the children, but I've heard some of them stories. But oh, God bless, you know, my mom did too, kind of, sort of. But anyway, um, you can still see the love in it. So what I'm saying is that let your children discover themselves, you know, and so what if it's something that kind of is like a little aggravating? Just, you know, just let it go. It'll pass. Most likely it'll pass, you know, and let them express themselves, you know, and encourage them to do that. That they don't have to act like that, you know. They, uh, you know, and apologize. You know, don't let the ego say, you know what. Don't admit that you know, that you were yelling and screaming and acting like a freak because something happened, you know, 5 minutes ago in the grocery store, and you come out and the kids, of course, are being too loud. You start screaming, yelling at them, or whatever it might be the case. I'm just using it for a metaphor, you know. Let's not take it out on each other. And if we do, let the ego, punch the ego in the nose and say, you know what, I'm going to be honest, and we're going to make a lesson out of this for our little ones. But anyway, I really hope that, you know, because you spend your time in our, you know, our time is valuable, you know, and I really try to make a goal time and what I, you know, make sure I stay on the topic because, you know, I want, if you're going to spend your time with me, you know, I want you to get something out of it. And, you know, I study, I seek, I got the time, you know, you know, I get something out of this and I just want to share it. I just want to share it and hope that it helps a lot of you out there as well. I mean, I got more, call it my cyber family, but I don't like calling them clients, but they're my cyber family. I get to know y'all and we get to do things together. We get to get, you know, shared, you know, and we're all different. What might not work for one is going to work for the other. And once you find that little niche, you know, for yourself as an individual, you know, we come together and we fill each other's gaps, and we become family. And I gotta try to slow down my talking. I so think that I need to get this out really, really quick before the time comes up. But you know, I don't want to go over time when I set a goal, and I want to be thorough and hope that you guys are getting something out of this, and realize that our babies can be suffering from what we didn't, you know, what we went through too. You know, pray, and stop. You know, the one thing, if I had one thing to say, is that don't be thinking of the bad stuff, even if it does happen. Don't be thinking of the bad stuff or what bad can come out of things all the time. Don't focus on that, because yeah, I did it because I thought that if I did that, then I'd be prepared when it happened. And I focused too much on that, and it ended up being pretty close to it. So, I mean, focus more on the good, even if it's not happening the way it ought to be or the way you want it to be. Just focus on that. Stop preparing yourself for the bad, because when you prepare yourself for the bad, I could tell you without a doubt that it's going to get close to that. And I you know, I also read dreams. I don't know, and I am an empath, so I want to, you know, I want to also let you guys know who I am, and use my stories and my messes to help you all out there, you know, so that we can come to this quickly, so we're not stuck, you know, in year after year after year. And I even got some family up there, well, you know, soul family. Still the same thing as it was 10 years ago, over and over, and I keep praying, and I'm hoping that, you know, eventually, because that's what our experience, that's what we're here for. We're here to go through them wisely and learn, and enjoy the moment, because the moment can be taken away in a blink of an eye. And I will say bye for now, and much love as always, and namaste, and stay in the Word, and speak to God. Loves you more than any person in this world can, and stay in conversation with Him. He will not sell you short. He's faithful. And be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and stop pretending. Yes, pretend till you make it, but let's not be ridiculous here. Let's stop waddling in our sorrows, and stand up and do something about it, even with a thought and a prayer. We all can use it. So then, namaste. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, everybody in Florida. If you're in Florida, I know you're enjoying it. It is coming. Spring break is coming up. I have my grandchildren, so I will try my best to stay with y'all. Until then,